Hey everyone, Chief here from Team Buddyfight with my Ancient World Raging Spirit deck profile. Got quite a few requests for this one over time, and I finally kind of got the build settled where I want it to be, at least for now, that I'm going to show it off. Alright, so let's get started. Obviously we're fighting for Ancient World here, and our buddy is Dragon Kid Ricky. Best buddy ever. He's my homie. Anyway, size 3 to start off with 4. Wicked Dragon Emperor, Billion Knuckle. Billion Knuckle is just the bane of a lot of people's existence. This card's really really mean. So good, so cheap. 2 gauge for a free Soul Guard, counterattack, a redirector with a simple lifelink 2 that can even be negated. 7k counterattack. He wipes boards, and he's just so amazing. This is probably my favorite of all the Raging Spirits, just because of how much you get out of this one card. 6k weapons can be kind of annoying. Just make sure you have your nullifies ready so you're not wasting all your counterattacks. But aside from that, he definitely puts in the work. He's amazing. Like, oof, Billion Knuckle, so good. Now for the second best Raging Spirit, 4 Soul Path Dragon Emperor, Oni Street. Oni Street is a totally free 7/7 redirector with lifelink 2. That he is so amazing. I love this card so much. He is your saving grace against the dungeon matchups. Pillar of Fire ain't got nothing on this boy. He's so good. 7k defense is so good. It's really hard to hit that more than once per turn unless you're playing a specific style of deck. And then he's just free. Oni Street is one of the cards that allows you to keep your tempo up when your Raging Spirits are dying fast, because you can spend all the gauge you want and then just plop him right down. He is amazing. I really love this card. It's definitely a staple of both of them. Next, I'm playing 3 Bash Dragon Emperor Champion Lord. Now, only 3 Champion Lord because, well, Champion Lord he's definitely not good to open with. He does put in a lot of work. He can make a really good damage output. He can get over a lot of walls. He can field clear. He can do a lot of things. He's 2 gauge for his double attack. It goes a long way. But at the end of the day, he can sometimes be not as worthy of an investment, especially if you have to use a lot of resources to keep him alive. I still really love him, don't get me wrong, but I think 3 is the better number, at least for me, on the Champion Lord here. And for the last size 3, I'm playing 1 5th Omni Dragon Lord Tenbu, because just 2 gauge for a board wipe, can synergize with Glacies and Demonica, and Thunder Tornado, all your hand traps and whatnot. I really like him in the deck. He helps out a lot. He puts in so much work for me. I love being able to play this one card. I adore him. Alright, now on to size 2, we got all our Dragon Lord hand traps, playing 3 Ice Dragon Emperor Glacies. Only 3 because with Prudent and then just everything else, space-wise and cost-wise, you have more than enough nullifies in the deck, more than enough ways to keep your homies alive. I like him at 3. He's definitely perfectly fine in 3. That one, just 1 life to nullify an attack with a 3 on board is amazing. I love him. Gets around just everything. Gets around spell nulls. So helpful. Next, playing 2 Wicked Dragon of Fabrication Demonica. Used to have him at 3, but I've bumped him down to 2 lately to fit in a couple other things, and I'm liking him at 2. I don't really get to negate spell cheese people as often as I used to, but in exchange for that, there's a lot more things going in the deck, a lot more things going off, and I'm pretty okay with him at 2. Next, we've got, lastly, 2 Storm Dragon Emperor Thunder Tornado, 1 gauge and pitch from hand with a size 3 on board to destroy a weapon. So good. Super cheap weapon destruction, because there are a lot of weapons that can really bug the crap out of this deck. Sunfist Sunshine Impact is annoying. Ricked Demon Slay is annoying. Alka's Bane is annoying. Basically anything with 6k, because they can hit a lot of your Raging Spirits alone, which is very frustrating. It's definitely not something you want to deal with, because at that point you're having to defend your guys 2 or 3 times per turn, which is, ooh, gross. You don't want to do that. So he can be pretty solid to just get rid of some pesky weapons. He's a very good 2 in the deck. On to zeros, of course, we have the one and only Dragon Kid Ricky at 4, of course, because he's just too amazing. Ricky is what keeps this deck going. He is your saving grace. He's your size 1 and a size 3 base deck, so that's already just, great. And his stats aren't even bad. 3/1/3 keeps him out of the range of a couple of removals and just lets him clear a lot of things off board, and just then being able to negate the lifelink of all your Raging Spirits, that is just so good. I love this card. He is so buddy material. There's no matchup where you wouldn't want to play this guy. He is just amazing. And of course for the items, we got 4 Sky Splitting Armor Masurao, just a simple 3/2 clone of like all the trial deck world weapons or whatever, but it's a 3/2 in Ancient World. it's all you really need. It is all you need. Basically your Raging Spirits pretty much will break down any walls. This just helps you get in even more damage, and you know your center's open, so why not punch the heck out of your opponent? Swing with your Sky Splitting Armor. It's very helpful for just free handy weapon. And lastly for spells, starting off with of course the staples. 4 Divine Dragon Creation, 2 life to draw 2 cards. A nice one for 2 life. So amazing. This is your draw power. This is your advantage engine. This is what just gets everything going and keeps everything going. Just, I mean, I don't need to justify or explain this. It's amazing. Now, on the topic of not needing to justify or explain things, 4 Dragon Emperor Legend, a life, a gauge, and a draw. I mean, how could you not? This is your Gauge Excel in the deck. This is really all a Gauge Excel that your deck needs, that Raging Spirits really need. I've tried a couple other things, but at the end of the day, I just didn't need it. This one gauge that Emperor Legend brings you, just it keeps you going, and that's all you really need. And then of course 4 Dragon Prudence, your nullify of the deck. Very important. Very important. Just open center, nullifies attack. Battle Aura Circle Clone. Super helpful. Stops the pesky weapon attacks from wasting all your counterattack spells, and just, I mean, can defend you when you don't have your size 3 on board. Super helpful. Super amazing. I love it. About time, Ancient World. Next, we have, of course, 4 Wrath Trigger. Anytime a monster would be destroyed or would be put off the field, 1 gauge and 1 life keeps that puppy on the field. So amazing. This is what keeps you from just auto losing all instant destruction effects, and just, oh, and it gets counterattack, you know. It's a great spell. It's pretty amazing. And then playing 3 copies of Dragon Thunder. I tried Dragon Thunder at 4. Was a little too much for me because it doesn't hit everything. Tried it at 2, just simply wasn't enough. I wanted to see more often, so I've been loving it at 3 because it hits everything you need it to in those matchups where it does, and then it hits the couple things in the matchups where it doesn't hit everything. And at 3, it's just never really a dead draw. And if it is, well, you're only playing 3 anyway. This is just a really good card. Just taking out monsters with 2,000 less defense power, auto destruction is just really solid because there's not a lot of ways to get around it. And another thing that's really fun that you can do with Billion Knuckle is if 2 weenies have to link attack Billion Knuckle, you can Thunder one of them, and then now that the attack's over, his counterattack will still go off, and you can counterpunch the other one. So you could just board wipe with Knuckle and Thunder, which is just so fun to do. I love it. It's amazing. Thunder hits really important things in nearly every deck. So I think I definitely like it at 3 copies. And then for when Thunder's not getting the job done, I am actually playing 2 Gathering of the Armed Dragon. It's just your simple Drago energy for a Raging Spirit. Nothing really much to say there. It comes in handy to deal with some stuff like Amano Habari, Gunvels, and then some more beefy matchups such as like, you know, Thunder Knights and just anything like that. I mean, it's just handy to have. I like the extra defense protection spells in the deck. And lastly, for spells, we have 3 Dragon Verse. Anytime you call a lifelink monster, you gain a life point. This is your life gain in the deck, and it is amazing. I wrestled around with this and Dragon Dreams for a while, for a long time actually, because like I would feel like this gets me more than Dreams in the long run and just works more to my liking. But then Dreams is just that burst that is free. This costs a gauge, but at the end of the day, the 1 gauge cost, even if it does sometimes come to bite you in the butt, you get so much from this card for that bite in the butt. It is really amazing because, you know, you play all your Raging Spirits over and over again. You just get constant life engine. Your Rickies, you get constant life engine, especially when like stuff like Magical Goodbye wants to constantly bounce Ricky. You just keep getting that life point back, so it's null and void, really. It's amazing. And if you have to resort to calling your size 2 Dragon Lords because you're just not drawing a size 3 for some awful reason, this still getting you life. I really like this card. I really, really like this card. So yeah, that's the deck. I love it. This deck is so fun to play. So fast, so efficient, so much advantage. Alright, and there is also the sideboard. We should probably get to that. Alright, so to start off the sideboard, I'm playing 2 copies of Ethereal Overlord, Gang the King. This gang in particular being a gift from my good friend Dex. Thanks, man. This guy is just a big beefcake. Gang, like, okay, I don't hate Gang. Gang is not a bad card. He's very decent. He can really catch a lot of people off guard and get a lot of big damage swings in, which I love. He can just get in there. But I can't really justify main decking him. But man, in the sideboard, he puts in the work. Against some matchups, he's just too dead of a card because 3 gauge, and then if he gets killed really fast, you gotta immediately spit something else out, which is sometimes really hard to do. But that's why you side him. There are times to side a Gang the King, and it is a very helpful side. I mean, 5 crit is 5 crit, no joke. Get wrecked. Continuing on with the sideboard, I'm playing 2 Destruction Dragon Emperor Gadistal. 1 gauge and pitch from hand to kill a size 2 or less on the board. I really like Gadistal for a lot of matchups. Just anything with like powerful movers and stuff. Anything like I love it for just so many matchups. He can take care of some really important stuff. I like to side him in just because you know, you don't always want to swing into stuff with your Raging Spirits because then you might have to waste spells to keep them alive from like counterattack and all. So this guy can just get rid of a lot of problems and save you a lot of trouble. Gadistal's great. I love him. And then to round out things, I'm playing 2 more Thunder Tornado, a 3rd Glacies, a third Demonica, and a 4th Glacies here, just for whenever, you know, Thunder Tornadoes for, again, those really annoying weapon matchups. Demonica, I like to side in for Magic World to stop any annoying great spells going off and ruining my day, and to stop Dragon Shield against Dragon World, because you can close out games really fast with this. And then Glacies is there for any worlds that can like to use spell nulls. I'll put in a 4th Glacies over a because I'd rather be using that over a Prudent any day. And then lastly in the sideboard, 4th Thunder and a 3rd Gatherings. I'll usually side out, like, I will side out the 3rd Thunder for a 3rd Gatherings, or siding out the Gatherings for a Thunder and then something else, just depending on the matchup, because sometimes, again, one is more useful than the other, and you can just kind of fix your deck according to those matchups, which is really lovely to do. So, yeah, that's the deck. That's my Raging Spirits. If you have any comments, or if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section, you know, hit me up, amigos. Bye. Stay frosty.